7 ways to overcome life's most difficult situations. Have you ever felt like life just punched you in the gut? Like everything you worked for, everything you believed in, just collapsed right in front of you? Maybe you're sitting in your room right now, staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell you're supposed to get through this. I get it. I've been there. And let me tell you something. This isn't where your story ends. Right now, you might be dealing with heartbreak, losing someone you love, failing at something that meant everything to you, feeling stuck in a life that doesn't even feel like yours anymore. And when you're in the middle of it, when you're drowning in it, it feels impossible to see a way out. But let me ask you this. What if I told you that the pain you're feeling right now could become the very thing that makes you stronger than you ever thought possible? That the hardest moments of your life could be the ones that shape you, redefine you, and even inspire others? This video isn't just another self-help talk. I'm not here to give you fluffy advice like just think positive or everything happens for a reason. No. You don't need cliches. You need real answers. You need to know how to survive this, how to fight back when life knocks you down, how to rebuild yourself when everything falls apart. So today, I'm going to walk you through 7 powerful ways to overcome life's most difficult situations. Not theories, not wishful thinking. Real, proven, battle-tested strategies that I've used, that others have used, and that can help you too, starting right now. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll look at your situation differently. You'll realize that this moment, the one you're struggling with right now, is not your ending. It's just the beginning of a new version of you. Are you ready? Because we're about to change the way you face life's hardest moments. Forever. Let's get into it. 1. Embrace the power of perspective. All right, let's start with the first and most important step to overcoming life's hardest moments. Changing your perspective. Now I know what you're thinking. Perspective. Really? How is that supposed to help when I just lost everything? Listen, I'm not saying your pain isn't real. I'm not saying what happened to you doesn't matter. It does. But what I am saying is that the way you see your situation can either trap you in it or set you free. Think about this. 2 people can go through the exact same disaster. Losing a job, a breakup, a betrayal. But one of them falls apart and never recovers, while the other rises up stronger than before. What's the difference? Perspective. Let me tell you a story. During World War II, there was a man named Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who was sent to a Nazi concentration camp. His entire family was taken from him. He suffered hunger, torture, and loss beyond imagination. Yet, in the middle of the worst circumstances a human could endure, Frankl realized something powerful. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. He realized that while he couldn't control what was happening to him, he could control how he responded to it. And that changed everything. Now I know most of us will never face something as extreme as a concentration camp, but the truth remains. Your perspective can either keep you stuck in pain or help you break free from it. So how do you shift your perspective when everything feels like it's falling apart? Try this, the what's the lesson exercise. Next time life knocks you down, ask yourself one question. What is this trying to teach me? Instead of focusing on why something happened to you, shift your focus to what you can learn from it. Got fired? Maybe this is the push you needed to finally chase the career you actually love. Heartbroken. Maybe this is showing you how to set better boundaries or love yourself first. Failed at something? Maybe this failure is shaping you into the kind of person who's strong enough to handle the success that's coming. This isn't about denying your pain. It's about choosing to give it meaning. Because pain without purpose just feels like suffering. But pain that transforms you, that makes you unstoppable. And once you master the power of perspective, nothing can break you. 2. The art of emotional resilience. Now, shifting your perspective is powerful. But let's be real. Some pain is just too heavy to think your way out of. And that's where emotional resilience comes in. Let's get one thing straight. You don't overcome life's hardest moments by avoiding pain. You overcome them by learning how to handle it. Pain is inevitable. Loss is inevitable. Failure. Inevitable, but suffering, that's optional. Think about the most resilient people you know. They're not the ones who have never struggled. They're the ones who struggled, fell, broke, and still found a way to stand up again. So how do you build emotional resilience when life is kicking you down? 1. Change your relationship with failure. Most people see failure as the end. But what if it's just part of the process? Every successful person you admire has failed harder than most people even try. Oprah was fired from her first job. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Did they give up? No. Because they understood that failure isn't a dead end. It's just a stepping stone. Next time you fail at something, instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," say, "This is just part of the process." Because every failure is just a test to see if you're really committed. 2. Train your brain to handle stress. Did you know that your brain literally rewires itself based on how you react to stress? There's a part of your brain called the amygdala. It's the part that sets off panic alarms when something bad happens. But here's the crazy part. The more you practice handling difficult emotions, the stronger the logical part of your brain becomes at calming those alarms. That's why some people break down under pressure, while others become stronger. They've trained their minds to handle stress. So how do you do that? Practice mindful breathing. When stress hits, take deep breaths in for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4. This calms the nervous system. Label your emotions. Instead of saying, "I'm freaking out," say, "I'm feeling overwhelmed right now," and that's okay. Naming your emotions makes them feel less powerful. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Most of the things we stress about won't even be important in the long run. 3. Build an unshakable support system. Let's be honest, you can't do this alone. And you're not supposed to. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves when we're struggling is that no one understands. But the truth? There's always someone who does. Talk to a friend. You don't have to fix everything alone. Find a mentor. Someone who's been where you are can help guide you. Join a community, support groups, online forums, therapy, whatever works for you. You are not weak for needing help. You are not broken for struggling. You are human. And humans heal best together. Final thought on resilience. Listen, you don't become emotionally strong by avoiding pain. You become strong by learning how to carry it. Every time life knocks you down, you have 2 choices. Let it break you or let it build you. And trust me, if you're watching this, if you're still here, if you're still fighting, you are already stronger than you think. 3. The power of radical acceptance. All right, we've talked about perspective and emotional resilience. But what happens when life throws something at you that you can't change? When no matter how much you fight, no matter how much you wish things were different, the reality is out of your control. That's where radical acceptance comes in. Let me ask you something. How much of your suffering right now is coming from the situation itself, and how much is coming from your resistance to it? Think about it. Someone broke your heart, but is the pain from the breakup, or from you constantly replaying what happened and wishing things were different? You lost your job. Is the pain just about the job, or is it from you beating yourself up over it, feeling like a failure, instead of focusing on what's next? A loved one passed away. The grief is real, but are you also fighting the reality that they're gone instead of allowing yourself to process and heal? The second arrow story. There's an ancient Buddhist teaching called the second arrow. It goes like this. Imagine you get hit with an arrow. That first arrow is painful. It represents the actual event, the thing that happened to you. But then, you shoot yourself with a second arrow. The mental suffering you create by resisting reality. The first arrow is losing your job. The second arrow is calling yourself a failure, replaying the moment over and over, drowning in shame. The first arrow is getting rejected. The second arrow is convincing yourself you're unlovable, doomed to be alone. The first arrow? You can't control it. The second arrow? That one is up to you. What is radical acceptance? Radical acceptance means fully accepting reality as it is, without resistance, without denial, without wishing it were different. And listen, this is not about liking what happened. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about facing the truth head-on, so you can stop suffering and start healing. Because here's the truth. The more you fight reality, the more you suffer. But the moment you stop fighting it, you can finally move forward. How to practice radical acceptance. Acknowledge what happened. Stop running. Stop avoiding. Just say it. This is what happened. This is where I am right now. Let go of should have. Thinking. This shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have left me. Life shouldn't be this unfair. But it did. They did. It is. And the sooner you accept it, the sooner you'll be free. Focus on what's next, not what's lost. Ask yourself, given that this is my reality, what do I do now? That's where your power is. That's how you take back control. Personal story. My own moment of radical acceptance. I had a moment in my life when I was holding on to something that was already gone. I kept telling myself, this shouldn't have happened. This isn't fair. And you know what? Maybe it wasn't fair. Maybe it wasn't right. But my resistance to reality only kept me stuck. The day I finally accepted the truth was the day I started to heal. It didn't make the pain disappear overnight. But it did something even more important. It set me free. And it can do the same for you. So let me ask you, what's one thing in your life that you can't change but are still fighting against? Drop it in the comments, or just say it to yourself. Then take a deep breath and let it go. Because the sooner you stop resisting reality, the sooner you start healing. 4. Rebuilding from rock bottom. All right, now we're getting into the real work, because sometimes life doesn't just hit you hard, it wipes you out. I'm talking about rock bottom, the moment when you realize you have nothing left. The moment when you look around and think, how the hell did I end up here? The moment when even getting out of bed feels impossible. If you're there right now, listen to me. This is not the end of your story. Some of the most powerful people in history, Oprah, J.K. Rowling, Steve Jobs, Robert Downey Jr., all hit rock bottom before they became who they were meant to be. Why? Because rock bottom isn't the end. It's the foundation. You don't rebuild your life despite hitting rock bottom. You rebuild it because you hit rock bottom. The Phoenix Effect. Why rock bottom can save you. Have you ever heard of a phoenix? It's a mythical bird that bursts into flames and burns to ashes, and then rises from those ashes, stronger than before. What if rock bottom is just your phoenix moment? What if this is the fire that's burning away everything that wasn't meant for you, so you can rise up stronger? How to rebuild from nothing. Accept where you are, without shame. The hardest part of hitting rock bottom, the shame. I should be further along. I can't believe I let this happen. People are going to judge me. Forget all of that. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are starting fresh, and that is a powerful place to be. Focus on just one small step. When you're at rock bottom, thinking about fixing your whole life is overwhelming, so don't. Instead, just ask yourself, what's one small step I can take today? If you lost everything financially, start by researching side gigs or updating your resume. If you're emotionally broken, start by getting out of bed and taking a shower. If you feel lost, start by journaling for 5 minutes about how you feel. Tiny steps create momentum. Momentum creates progress. Progress creates change. Rewrite your story, the version of you that existed before rock bottom. Gone. And that's a good thing. Because now you get to decide, who do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to build? What kind of people do you want to surround yourself with? You are in the rare, painful, yet powerful position of starting over with nothing but possibility. Don't waste it. My own rebuild story. I won't lie to you. I've been there. I know what it feels like to have everything collapse. To feel like the future you imagined is gone forever. But I also know this. When you have nothing to lose. And that makes you dangerous. That makes you powerful, because when you have nothing, the only way to go is up. So let me ask you, what's one small step you can take today to rebuild? Write it down, say it out loud, drop it in the comments. Then take the first step, because you are not done yet. You are just getting started. Touch the power of connection and asking for help. Let's get real for a second. When life hits hard, most of us do the same thing. We isolate. We stop answering texts. We tell people, I'm fine. We convince ourselves that no one would understand, or worse, that no one would care. But listen to me. That's the pain talking. That's not the truth. Because the truth? You are not meant to do this alone. Why we struggle in silence. Most of us were taught that asking for help is weak. Be strong. Don't burden others with your problems. You should be able to handle this on your own. And maybe you've had experiences that made you believe that. Maybe you reached out before and people let you down. Maybe you feel like no one would get it. But let me ask you, what if the reason you're still struggling isn't because you're weak, but because you're trying to fight battles that were never meant to be fought alone? The science of connection. You are wired for support. Here's something crazy. Studies show that human connection literally heals pain. When you feel lonely, your brain reacts the same way it does to physical pain. But when you feel connected, your body releases oxytocin, a chemical that lowers stress, calms anxiety, and makes pain more bearable. This isn't just emotional. It's biological. You are wired to heal through connection. So why are you trying to heal alone? How to ask for help, even when it feels impossible. Start small. You don't have to pour your heart out to someone all at once. Just start with, "Hey, I'm going through something right now. I don't need you to fix anything. I just need someone to listen." Most people want to help but don't know how. Give them a chance. Find the right people. Not everyone will get it, and that's okay, but someone will. If your close circle isn't supportive, look elsewhere. A therapist, a support group, an online community. There is someone out there who understands what you're going through. Accept that you deserve help. This one's big. Because a lot of us don't reach out. Not because we don't need help, but because we don't believe we deserve it. But hear me when I say this. You deserve support. You deserve love. You deserve to be heard. And I promise, someone out there is ready to listen. Personal story. When I finally reached out, I used to think asking for help was weakness. That if I just pushed through, I could handle everything on my own. But the truth? The moment I finally reached out, the moment I let someone in, that's when I really started to heal. And maybe that's what you need right now. Maybe you don't need another self-help video. Maybe you don't need to figure it all out. Maybe you just need to pick up the phone and say, "I need someone to talk to." Try it. You might be surprised by who shows up. 6. The role of meaning and purpose in overcoming pain. Now, this is where things really shift. We've talked about changing your perspective. We've talked about emotional resilience. We've talked about accepting what you can't change and finding support. But now, let's talk about something even bigger. Purpose. Because let me tell you something. Pain without purpose, that's what breaks people. But pain that has meaning, that's what transforms people. Why some people rise from pain, while others stay stuck. Think about the people who've been through the worst and still came out stronger. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and came out preaching peace. Malala Yousafzai was shot in the head for wanting an education and turned it into a global movement. Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor I mentioned earlier, used his suffering to help millions find meaning in their struggles. What do they all have in common? They didn't just go through pain. They gave their pain a purpose. And you can too. How to turn pain into purpose. Ask yourself, how can this help someone else? The worst thing you've been through. Someone else is going through it right now. What if your experience could help them? Maybe you can share your story. Maybe you can mentor someone going through something similar. Maybe you can use what you've learned to change someone's life. Your pain doesn't have to be meaningless. Find a bigger why. When you focus on something bigger than yourself, your pain becomes more bearable. If you're a parent, maybe your why is showing your kids what strength looks like. If you're an artist, maybe your why is turning your struggles into something beautiful. If you've lost someone, maybe your why is living in a way that honors them. A strong enough why can get you through any how. Rewrite your story. Right now, you might see yourself as a victim of your pain. But what if you're actually the hero of this story? Every great hero faces impossible challenges. Every great hero gets knocked down, but every great hero rises again. What if this isn't the end of your story? What if this is just the part where you decide to fight back? Personal story. How finding purpose changed. Everything for me. There was a moment in my life where I felt completely lost. I had no direction, no reason to keep pushing forward. But the day I decided to take what I had been through and use it to help others, everything changed. And now, I'm here, talking to you. Because maybe you need to hear this. Maybe this is your moment. So let me ask you, what's one way you can give your pain a purpose? Think about it, write it down, drop it in the comments. Because I promise you, your story is not over. 7. Taking action, even when you feel stuck. All right, we've made it this far. We've talked about shifting your perspective, building resilience, accepting what you can't change, rebuilding from rock bottom, seeking connection, and finding purpose. But now let's get real. Because none of it matters if you don't take action. Knowing what to do is one thing. Actually doing it? That's what changes your life. But here's the problem. When life knocks you down, taking action feels impossible. You don't feel motivated. You don't see the point. You don't even know where to start. And that's exactly why we need to talk about how to move forward, even when you feel stuck. Why action is the antidote to hopelessness. Here's something most people don't realize. You don't take action because you feel motivated. You feel motivated because you take action. Let me say that again. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Think about the last time you didn't feel like working out, but you forced yourself to go to the gym. Once you started moving, it got easier, right? Or the last time you didn't feel like cleaning your room, but once you picked up one thing, you ended up cleaning the whole place. That's because momentum is powerful, and even the tiniest step forward breaks the cycle of inaction. How to take action. When you feel stuck, if you're stuck right now, overwhelmed or paralyzed by fear, try this. 1. The 5-second rule, Mel Robbins method. If you have an idea to do something, take action within 5 seconds. Thinking about texting someone for help? Do it in 5 seconds. Need to get out of bed? Count down from 5 and do it. Need to apply for that job. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just do it. Why? Because the longer you wait, the more your brain will talk you out of it. Your brain loves comfort. It will find every excuse to keep you from changing. The 5-second rule cuts through the excuses before they even start. 2. Set a ridiculously small goal, the 2-minute rule. When you're overwhelmed, your brain shuts down. So instead of thinking about everything you need to do, just commit to one tiny step. Want to start exercising? Just do 2 minutes. Need to start a big project? Just open your laptop. Need to get out of bed? Just put one foot on the floor. Why? Because once you start, you're more likely to keep going. 3. Focus on progress, not perfection. One of the biggest killers of action is perfectionism. I can't start until I have everything figured out. I have to do this perfectly or it's not worth doing. What if I fail? Let me tell you something. Done is better than perfect. Success doesn't come from doing things perfectly. Success comes from doing things imperfectly, consistently. Don't worry about doing it right. Just start. Don't worry about how slow you're moving. Just keep going. Because imperfect action will always beat perfect inaction. What if you're scared to move forward? Look, I get it. Taking action is terrifying. What if it doesn't work? What if you fail? What if nothing changes? But let me ask you something even scarier. What if you stay exactly where you are right now, forever? What if, a year from now, you're still stuck in the same place, feeling the same pain, making the same excuses? That should scare you even more. So here's the truth. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be brave for one moment at a time. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite the fear. Personal story. The moment I stopped waiting and started acting, I spent years stuck in my own head, waiting for the right time to start. waiting to feel motivated. Waiting for the fear to go away, waiting until I had everything perfectly planned out. But guess what? The right time never came. The only thing that changed my life was this. I stopped waiting and I started doing. And now, here I am, telling you the same thing. Conclusion. Your hardest moments are not the end. They are the beginning. If you've made it this far, if you're still here, still listening, still fighting, then let me tell you something. You're already winning. Because most people don't even get this far. Most people let their pain define them. Most people stay stuck in the same cycles, replaying the same pain, carrying the same weight, never realizing that they hold the power to change their story. But you're different. Because you're here. Because something deep inside you, no matter how small, still believes in something better. And that belief, that's the first step to everything. Let's recap. The 7 steps to overcoming life's most difficult situations. 1. Embrace the power of perspective. How you see your struggle matters more than the struggle itself. Shift your mindset, and you shift your life. 2. The art of emotional resilience. Strength isn't about avoiding pain. It's about learning to carry it without letting it break you. 3. The power of radical acceptance. Stop fighting reality. The sooner you accept what you can't change, the sooner you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. 4. Rebuilding from rock bottom. Rock bottom isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new you. Burn away what no longer serves you and rise. 5. The power of connection and asking for help. You are not meant to do this alone. Let people in. There is strength in vulnerability. 6. The role of meaning and purpose in overcoming pain. Your struggles don't have to be meaningless. Find a way to turn your pain into purpose. 7. Taking action. Even when you feel stuck, nothing changes until you do. Stop waiting. Take action now, no matter how small. Your next step, a challenge for you. Look. I could sit here and talk all day about overcoming pain, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what you do next. So here's my challenge to you. Choose one thing from this video and act on it today. Shift your perspective on something that's been holding you back. Text someone you trust and ask for help. Take a deep breath and accept the thing you've been resisting. Set one tiny goal for yourself and commit to it. Drop a comment below telling me what's your first step, because your life doesn't change by accident. It changes when you decide, right now, that you're done waiting. Final words. This is not your end. If no one has told you this lately, then let me be the first. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you realize. You are not broken. You are in the process of becoming. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care how impossible things feel right now. Because I know this. Your story is not over. This is just the middle, and the next chapter. That's up to you. Now go take that first step. I believe in you. And I'll be right here in the comments, waiting to hear what you do next. You got this.